Hey everybody, welcome to Bourbon and Branding. My name is Jason.
I'm Dave.
And we are excited to be once again in the Blind Tiger Speakeasy.
It's not a speakeasy.
I guess it's
we were corrected.
It's technically not a speakeasy, so there's a whole history to the Blind Tiger, which we plan on doing an episode later with the owner of this place who knows all about all of that stuff. And
way smarter than us.
Way smarter than us, yes. But he was kind enough to let us come back down and drink some more whiskey, so we did not say no to that. But today we are drinking a Midwinter Night's Dram by High West. Pretty excited about that. Have not been able to get my hands on a bottle myself.
This is why we have friends in...
You got to have friends in High West places.
In low places here, but High West places.
So High West makes, this is, just for anybody who is curious, this is Act 11, Scene 11, the 2023 rendition of their Midwinter Night's Dram. So,
without further ado.
Let's dive in. All right, Dave, so we have a Midwinter Night's Dram on our hands here, High West. And I'm the facts guy, so we could...
Nothing but the facts.
So this is Act 11, so the 2023, Scene 11, 98.6 proof. And for those of you who don't know, this is a blended rye. Which actually we have, so they take their rendezvous rye, which is actually for distilleries, most have like a staple bourbon,
right?
Or like that's their flagship. So for High West, their flagship is actually a rye. It's their rendezvous rye.
That's interesting.
But yeah, they take this as their base rye, and then they put this in port barrels,
with
port wine
magic,
barrels, with also some magic.
Nice.
Whatever happens out in the
Midsummer.
Yeah. And let's see what else is interesting before we start talking about it and drinking it. Actually, you know what? We should.
You talk too much, man.
We should get into this. Yeah. What are we doing?
Just a little smidge.
Yeah. There, I'll give you. That one's got one more in it. There you go.
Yeah, don't go stingy on me now.
All right. So one of the things that I think is really, I mean, obviously they have the not cowboy theme, but like Western theme going on.
Right.
I mean, all throughout their brand. I mean, their bottles. One of the things that, I don't know, you can kind of talk to this more than I do, but I do think that they did a really good job of everything in their line has a similar feel to it. Even the bottle, like the imperfections, I'm guessing that was on purpose, feel like old-timey, Old West. Like that I don't know, cowboy, the saloon, yeah.
It's almost like a Western apothecary.
So that's why I'm really curious. Like, why did they go with something? So they have all of the saloon, the cowboy theme. I mean, even they got a horseshoe as a brand or as a logo, and then Shakespeare. I don't like.
What do you not like Shakespeare?
No, I mean I like Shakespeare, but it's like where? How does that fit into like where does a company? It just feels like a big shift, like from I don't know, like John Wayne to Shakespeare. I don't know what. Like
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes.
Cheers.
Perfect.
I didn't jump ahead, steal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I know. You have a habit of getting ahead of me. I mean, that's on the nose. It's really, really nice, I think. Do you have any thoughts right out of the gate? I want to talk about the branding, actually, more than anything. Maybe you want to jump into the
I've got some thoughts definitely that I'm experiencing, but I would love to talk packaging, the brand presentation for the bottle itself. Okay, so when we build brands as a business, I often tell people we build boundaries, not rule books. People kind of veer one way or another. I think there's the absolute abuse of brands, like of a language. Like if you work on developing something and you've built something that really resonates, that will connect with your audience, and then everybody's gotten them, right? Like you get those crappy emails, and as a branding firm, we'll get emails from past clients if they've gone off of governance completely, and we'll be like, we didn't design this, and then usually that incurs a call to the marketing manager or the team, and we can talk a little bit more. Or maybe somebody is just new to the company and they haven't gone through the process of really all that goes on to buy into the brand. All that to say, so you can veer the direction of being really loose with something and having kind of nothing is sacred, everything's super loose, and your boundary is really big. Like you can run and play anywhere you want. And then on the other side, I think there's the people who are, for lack of better words, right? It's like the brand Nazi, like the one who's like, oh my goodness, your CMYK or your Pantone was off by like one little notch. We're gonna have to redo this. You can't be doing that. Oh my goodness, that social post that maybe 5 people will ever see the font was wrong in it. And I've been both.
Yeah.
So I think there's
you
these
personally, like you've been on,
like I've been both to the businesses that we've worked with, and there can be extremes, on either side. And where we've kind of landed is this place in the middle with these nice boundary walls where it's if people are bought into something and they believe in what the vision is, they believe in a visual identity, they believe in the brand narrative, they're going to feel a lot more confident and playful in exploring within those boundaries than if you hand them a rule book and say, man, you better get this kerning right. You better make sure that the leading is right on your font or the colors are exactly right. And I think what that does is it creates kind of this 1984 Big Brother kind of thing that happens, and it makes being part of something less obtainable in the mind for someone. So if you want to emotionally buy in, give them boundaries. All that to say, when I look at this, I feel as though it's not a complete like departure from their visual language. It's perhaps an extension. It's not like a line extension to a new type of product. It's
right.
We have a visual language. We're also interested in telling this kind of story. How can we incorporate our visual language into a story that we're perhaps interested in a really unique way? And so I think that there is some room and flexibility for them to play around in that ecosystem. Without feeling stifled.
Yeah.
That was a lot of...
Well, I mean, I don't know all the details of how all that works. I mean, from a aesthetic, these look like the same brand, right? I mean, it doesn't say High West right on it.
You gotta show them.
Oh yeah, there you go, yeah. We'll put that in there for you. But yeah, so I mean, the colors are the same. It looks like the fonts are the same.
Right.
Obviously, the bottle is exactly the same. But the whole, I don't know, just like the Shakespeare thing. And so Midsummer Night's Dream.
Dram.
Well, this is MidWinter Night's Dream. But the play is like a weird, like romance, like kind of fairy tale thing, and so I don't know. I'm like,
how do they relate?
How do they relate? Yeah, it's just so. But here's the thing: this is done really well. People like it. People wait for it. They buy it like right when it is released. So as a product, it's done really well. So I guess in some sense, you could just say, well, who cares? But I am kind of curious, like on day one, 12 years ago when they launched this, if they were confident in the message, that the message would come across. Because they have the campfire, they have the I forget the other, the rendezvous, obviously, high country, the burai, all of these things are on brand for being in the West. And then you jump to Shakespeare, and I don't get it. But I guess if it does well,
are people emotionally connecting and buying it? It sells well.
It sells well. I think people are always. Well, another thing too that High West does, I think, some would argue maybe better than others, is almost all of their whiskeys, if not exclusively, I think, are blended whiskeys. So they take their own mash bill and then they match it up with other bourbons or ryes, and they're really well known for blending. That's what they do. Everything is blended, so you get a real unique experience. Obviously, this is their rendezvous, but just put in port wine barrels. That's how it's finished, and this is, I think, $25 on the shelf. This is $150 on the shelf. So I don't know, does that port wine?
Well, I think what they've done is they've created a narrative around kind of urgency and scarcity. So yeah. I love the way they created this mechanism around naming the different, Act 1, the acts and scenes, right, rather than batches, barrels, like typical bourbon whiskey language.
Right. And
I think it does a really good job of relating back to the narrative of the play. I know you and I were talking about, like, one of my, I love Charles Dickens, and I know it's super cheesy maybe, but I love Christmas Carol. And I was thinking about it, if you've ever read Christmas Carol, and there's instead of chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, there's stave 1, stave 2. The idea of that Dickens was really smart and said, I want to replace the mechanism of the chapter with that of music to relate to the title of the book. And I think what they've done here is they've created this kind of really fun, playful brand narrative and language around the idea of it being a play. And so when somebody goes and buys a particular act or scene, they're getting that particular act or scene. They're experiencing it. So it creates an urgency to go, well, I want to know what happens next. And I want to know what happens next. Just like you would a book or a play, they've done it with whiskey, which I think is a really cool interactive way to engage with your brand and an audience.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, for what it is, I think they did a really good job of creating this niche type of offering. And yeah, like you're saying, within the brand, they kept everything, or within this ecosystem, if you will, of the Shakespeare, they kept it all on point with that. Yes, and so they did a really good job. I don't know. It's just it just feels weird to me. But all that to say, so if you watch our videos at all, we are not, well, I am not, I don't know if you've shifted at all, but we're typically not rye fans too much.
Not usually.
This was pretty enjoyable. I don't think just in memory, I don't think I particularly leaned toward the rendezvous that much. But this was, I don't know, this was pretty good. I mean, the nose is really good.
It's warming. It's very full-bodied.
And it's only 98, I think it's under 100 proof.
I was actually kind of shocked when you told me the proof, because it doesn't drink that way.
No, yeah, you definitely get kind of a all the way through sensation. You get that, it's not a burn by any stretch, but you get the spicy rye, but it's
spicy.
But it's not crazy spicy. It's like we've had some rye where it's like overwhelming, where it just doesn't, at least for my palate, I just don't like it. But
it's interesting. I'm looking at the two bottles, the coloring of the two. If you look at
for sure.
Yeah, the coloring for the rendezvous is so much lighter, and then you get this dark amber of the Dram, and it's a really beautiful color.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I'm ready to give
I think
I'm ready to, yeah. So again, I am not particularly a rye guy, but I mean, you get a rye guy. You get there is like a fruitiness, definitely a spice. I don't know. I think, so I think if I was going to drink this, I would drink it neat. Mm-hmm. I would give it a 3. I think I'm going to go a 3.
Okay.
And it probably wouldn't be a daily drinker for me, but it's good. But I'm going to go neat, 3, not a daily drinker. But kudos, I like this a lot better than this. So I think finishing it in the port wine barrels did something for it. I don't know how long. It doesn't tell us how long they were finished, but you can tell that by the color that they definitely went through a different process for sure. So, which I think makes a difference. I don't know if it makes a $150 difference, or $120 going from $20 to $30 to $150, but it is good.
Yeah, but if you're buying into the scene in the act, then
that's true. I mean, it would be cool to have from Act 1 all the way through Act 12 now, on your shelf or something. But what are your thoughts?
So this is a lot spicier, and I know we've done some ryes. We've typically kind of not gravitated towards them personally, and that's just a personal taste. I would say this, as far as ryes have gone, this has been surprisingly good. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I would say for me, I'm going to give this a 4.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I would not make it a daily drinker though. I think this would be like, hey, we're having a little bit of a spicy evening. I'm gonna have some.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my 4.
I mean, it's almost got like a Christmassy kind of.
Yeah,
feel.
no, it totally does.
There's something there. So.
So I'm gonna give it I'm gonna say neat, not a daily drinker, and I'll go a 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, I think I may be rating that just a little bit on just it being a rye.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that this time. Can't always be beaten up on the ryes.
All right, well, here's my takeaway. If you're gonna go totally left field, in my opinion, right, which is what they did, they went from John Wayne to Shakespeare. I guess both actors. I don't know, so maybe they're in the same vein. I don't know. Then you better make a really good product, right? Like that's this. If I'm rating it in some sense, it's. The product sells better than the story, in my opinion. Like, if I didn't like this, like if I didn't actually like the whiskey that was in here, the story of it being connected to Shakespeare wouldn't matter. But the fact that it's actually decent, like it's good whiskey, it keeps my attention to the story.
That's the brand promise, man.
So
it gets attention for the story and there's an intrigue there, but if the promise doesn't come through, then it's like a broken promise. Like you're not shaking hands on that. So, yeah, I think you're right on with that.
Yeah,
it's a great example though of creating a narrative to engage with your customer and then backing it up with a good quality product, so you've got that fulfillment.
For sure.
I think it's right on.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Tell us what you guys think of, well, I guess both the Rendezvous, which we didn't get to drink tonight, but maybe we will on another show, and the Midwinter Nights Dram. Again, we have Act 11. I've heard that 10 was not as good, but I don't know. We haven't been able to get our hands on that one.
And if you happen to be in the Rogue Valley, stop into Jefferson Spirits in Medford, or check out the Blind Tiger. If you guys happen to be here, the owner, Dennis, is full of knowledge about,
for sure,
about, what would you call it, the
Prohibition era. I don't know,
just super, super knowledgeable about that. If you guys are interested in that world at all, please check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Awesome.